was a void that I stared into, or perhaps I was in it. I'm still not sure, but it felt like sometimes I actually was this void. It belonged only to me. I told no one, and even if I did, they would never see it. Perhaps I could explain the general wet black color, or sulfur stench, or the dark beings with muddy clotted feathers that lurked there, but I only got vague looks and nods in my general direction. No eye contact. I remember it was cold and damp like the harshest Louisiana winter. Looking back, I have no memory of separation or distance from this void. Yes, there were good times. There were bright flowers sometimes. I would find a patch of mushrooms. I remember the song for 200 years, more or less. Don't let anyone tell you there's an easy fix, or that they just chose to leave the void. That's not how these things work. What I do remember is a series of days over a span of a few decades where I just got sick of being there and I attempted to find a way out. Of course, there was no way out, but I was looking just in case. I guess there was some hope that if I tried hard enough, it could be possible. But I really had no faith in that. I was just tired of being there. Then came one day when it was especially cold. The walls froze and there was no food or water for months. I decided that I should explore deeper into the void. I was sick of it. I had nothing to lose at this point. I followed what seemed to be a maze, and I decided that if I got lost and froze in the depths, that it wasn't the worst thing after all. It was completely dark, so I lit a long, dirty feather to light my path. I was not afraid of the dark or the cold in this moment. I walked along, taking random paths for days until I almost starved. Ahead I saw a light. It was fire. I heard screaming. I wanted to reach the very end of the void. I was terrified, and I knew I could die, but I welcomed the possibility of death. All of a sudden it became warm, but not warm, burning. There was a river of lava, and it shone so bright that my dull eyes were blinded. I heard screaming directly into my ears. Through my blurred vision, I saw some kind of monster, part eel, part dragon, part goat. It lifted me high into the air, and I could see all of the void, all of the walls around me in one great sweep up. The creatures cowered low in the shadows. The monster squeezed my body until I vomited black tar, and it hurled me down. I fell so far I don't know. I hit a ragged floor and fell through and through deeper to the center of the earth. All I remember is the cold again and the ache. I couldn't stand or walk. I couldn't see. I knew this was the end. I knew I had made a mistake and that I was dying. After a few days of lying there struggling to breathe, I crawled inch by inch to a small spring and drank the water. I ate some golden mushrooms that grew there. I think it was almost dying that made me decide to leave the void. I came up with a crazy idea that wouldn't work. When I was in the beast's lair, I'd stolen a silver spoon. I could dig a little from the center of the earth, and I could come out on the other side. I was already halfway through. But it would never work. But I did not want to die. I knew that if I returned to the void, I would find some way to die, and that was enough to make me want to try anything. And so I began to dig in the opposite direction of the void, to the other side of the earth. I dug for years. It was still cold. I still felt the void inside of my heart, and every day I would stare back and try to see it, try to feel the cold again. I missed the simple misery of the void. I continued digging. It was too hard, and I wanted to give up and return. Sometimes in my sleep, I would run backward toward the void, breathing shallow. I would wake up screaming. My hands became blistered and bloody. I broke both my wrists and had to let them heal. My mouth and ears were filled with earth. I was so tired of digging. I was getting nowhere, and I only wanted to stop and return to the void. But something had changed within me. I continued on. After digging for months, I heard a noise. I was terrified. The last time I'd heard any noise, it was the beast that had almost killed me. Something came through the rock. It was an animal. It was a mole. He saw me and chirped and ran in the opposite direction. "Wait, who are you? Where is this place?" I called ahead, my voice choking and dry from not talking. The mole stopped suddenly. "I recognize your voice. He smiled as only a mole can smile. I thought you had died years ago. I gave up, he said. I gave up too, I whispered. Is this the other side of the earth? Am I there? No, it's not, and I cannot tell you how much farther it is, or if it even exists. No one here has been, but we have heard rumors from farther on. Follow me home and I will mend your wrists and feed you broth, he said. I found myself so full of joy, but I was still terrified. I began to realize how far I was from the void, but I still felt exactly the same as I did when I was there. Would I ever escape? The fear and the cold was always with me, and I believed I would always long to return. I followed the kind mole down a round tunnel lined with dried mud painted blue. I had never seen blue before, but I knew exactly what it was when I saw it. Something within me whispered, sky. I didn't know what sky was, but I knew it was blue. The mole came to a round door and opened it. Inside was light. A fire. I was terrified and turned away. It's only a candle, the mole spoke. I entered the house behind him. There's a structure with cushions and blankets. There was a small spring and stove for cooking. There's a table and something to sit into. Welcome to my home, the mole smiled. He gave me clothing. I had never worn clothing before. I bathed in a tub and dressed in warm skins. It was so warm that I was afraid, but it felt so good. He fed me broth and hard bread with butter. I felt things that I did not recognize. I had no words, but the mole taught me over a few months. He taught me that this was peace, but only fleeting usually. I would always return to the fear of the warmth, the fear of light, and longing to be trapped in the void, longing to be thrown and broken again. But I did enjoy the company. The mole told me that I'd worked really hard to get here and that he was proud of me. I didn't know what he meant by that. I was nowhere. On the last day, he had a present for me. It was wrapped in pink paper with a silver bow. I opened it. It was a rock hammer, sturdy gloves, a lantern, and months' rations of food. I was confused. I couldn't use these tools. He sent me off on my way. I quickly found that the new tools allowed me to progress much faster than the spoon had. I was going so quickly I was shocked. I worked very hard with my renewed energy and healthy body. When I left the mole, I was afraid at first, but I began humming tunes to myself. My throat was moist and warm. I realized I could sing. I made up songs to comfort myself. I used the words the mole had taught me, and made up new words that came to me in whispers in my head. Over the next few months, I made much progress, but I still dreamt about the monster every night and woke up in sweats. It became hard again. I knew it wouldn't last. I stopped working and just laid and cried for days. It was too hard and I was running out of food. The void was too far away at this point. I had no choice but to continue on, but I could not continue. I laid starving for days until I had a vision. It was an angel. She came to me in my sleep. I was awake, and she told me to lie down and close my eyes. She was a gentle glow. Dear Fawn, wake up. I'm here for you. I have always watched over you. Every time you ran backward toward the void, I held you back and turned you around. When you lived in the void for 200 years, I was there. I kept you from going deeper into the void. I am here now to tell you how strong you are, and how we are all here to love and support you. You must not give up. There is an escape to this. You are already coming back to life. When you were in the void with that beast, you died. But we kept that tiny candle flame inside of you, and we held it until your body was strong enough to hold it again. And here you are fighting on. We are so proud of you, and we want you to know that. We have a present for you. It is an enchanted shovel that will turn the rock soft and light. You will go so much more quickly now. I also have an enchanted goblet that will fill with soup every time you need to eat. I fell asleep then. She was there. I heard what she said, but she had to repeat it for me to believe. Then she was gone. I felt something that day. I stayed up for days with a feeling. I named it love. She loved me, and I thought that maybe I loved her. I felt something strange in my chest. It was a heat coming from within. Was this the beast? I scratched my chest till it bled. I couldn't reach the heat. My bloody nails were split. That night I realized the warmth had a soothing effect on me. I felt that it was associated with this feeling of love. I felt it when I thought about the mole also. When I thought of the void, it dimmed and became cooler, but I could still feel it there. What did this mean? I put the goblet to my lips and drank with desperation. I could not have enough. My body became strong. My stomach was no longer hollowed. My arms had muscles and my cheeks puffed out in a way that I learned to appreciate. As I got my strength back, I tried to use the enchanted shovel. It was a miracle. What is a miracle? This I know enough. It cleared the stone and earth in giant swoops that turned into a warm, calming mist that smelled like frankincense. The work was easier, but still as the years went on I became tired again. I knew how far I had come, but I still felt the same most of the time, and I was not sure if it was worth it to continue. I was paralyzed with visions of the beast, memories of the voids, and the scream and the pain. You are doing so much better now. You are getting there. You no longer are the void, she whispered in my ear. She renewed me with strength. I knew that if I closed my eyes, I could see her as if she were still with me. She would encourage me. I continued on. Years and years I was all alone, but she was with me in spirit, and I had memories of the mole and the kindness he showed to me. I shoveled on and on. Every day I shoveled. Sometimes I would give up for a few months and lie and cry, but I always got up and continued. One day I had a crazy idea. I was strong. My hands were small, but they were sharp as diamonds and strong as an ox. I put the enchanted shovel in my pack and looked at my hands. I found them beautiful. I put my right hand to the rock and scraped. The rock melted away and I was serenaded by angels. I was cutting a hole right through the earth with my hands. With a single touch, the earth turned to powder and evaporated. I carved through rock and gem and lava and soil. I carved through dinosaur bones and ancient sea creatures. I learned their names and laid them to rest. Maybe I was strong. You are, she whispered. You've made it so far. How much farther? How long? No longer did it matter to me. Siffa. It's not about getting to the other side, it's about the journey. No longer did it matter. I noticed that I thought about the void less and less. I realized that maybe I was not the void. Maybe the void made me this strong. One day I heard a strange noise. I wasn't afraid. I was concerned. It sounded like crying. It was a young mouse. She ran from me and I followed her. Don't run, I'm not going to hurt you, I called. She slowed and turned. What are you? She said. I'm Siffa. I'm on a journey. I said. What is this place and why am I so scared? She said. What are you afraid of? I said. I lost my mother. She went down another path, and the rocks fell, and I cannot pass through to find her. I think she is waiting for me, but I will never reach her. I am better off left here in this cave to die. No, I said. I ran to her and held her in my arms. You can reach her. I know you can. Here. I have an enchanted shovel you can use. It was given to me by an angel. She looked at me with wide black eyes. You are strong enough to reach her. I know you can, she smiled. The mouse thanked me, and I helped her shovel through the rock. It took days, but finally we heard her mother. Little mouse, how I have been waiting years and years for you, but I never gave up hope. I always knew you would return to me. When the mother said this, I felt something in my eyes. They became heavy and prickled. I began to cry. It was joy. I had done a good deed. They embraced and were so happy. They presented me with a golden dress and a strawberry cake. You are a goddess. No, I'm Siffa. Thank you. I left and continued on my path. I thought about Little Mouse every day. She made me smile, and I thought about her and her mother warm and happy eating strawberries and cream, soft and brown with bright eyes and warm hearts and feather soles. Their memories were in my heart, warm and soft. My dress shone bright in the darkness. I no longer needed the lantern, and I left it in the path with a note attached. For whoever needs a light in the dark, fight on, strong one, it said. My hair became long and dark, and my skin soft and pale with light freckles, my eyes blue and my lips pink. I realized something was very different. You are getting there, the angel spoke. You are able to give back. That is a gift you have now. You inspire and you teach and you love. Love is stronger than any magic known to the heavens, she said. I laid my hands on the tunnel. The rock was harder than ever. I breathed deeply. It smelled of warm soot and earth. There was something in the earth. It was long. It was some kind of material. It was not an animal. I touched it, and it stayed solid. I was afraid. Was this the end? I could still turn back if I wanted to. The rock was solid. It stood like a warrior. I was a warrior also. It's about the journey, not the destination. I reached out my diamond hands. The wall reached out to me. It took my hand, and we embraced. I embraced the rock, and I felt so much love, and my fear turned to powder and torn to pieces. I wanted to live. The rock turned to powder, and there was a white, blinding light. I did not go blind. It was warm. There was blue sky. I put a hand through and crawled through to the next tunnel. It was not a tunnel, it was flat. What is flat? There was sand, there was the sounds of small, beautiful flying mice with beaks and wings. The warmth in my heart was finally matched by the warmth of the sun. It was high in the sky, and I was not afraid. There were creatures, mice, wolves, horses, people, but the earth was dry and hot. There were no plants or trees, no water. The creatures were thin. I recognized someone. It was a stag. We have been waiting centuries for you to arrive, he bowed to me. Great healer from our myths that have been passed down for centuries. I ran and I embraced the stag. I looked down. I am like you, I am a fawn. I said. You are grown now, you are a doe, he said. I have arrived, I have arrived. In the here and in the now, I am present and I am free. It is not over, your journey, he said. This is not the end. You will become a strong healer for this earth and all the creatures in it. You will inspire and cure, heal and teach. This is your destiny to lead our people, he said. I felt tears in my eyes, but I did not want to cry. Let it out, the angel said. My tears flowed like a river over the land, cool and clear. They soaked into the desert, and the plants began to grow. Trees sprouted, and everything became green. All of the creatures and the sun rejoiced. I am here. Thank you, guys.